automatic employment to end power beneficiaries. Lawan calls for support of livestock sector, laments neglect. 3 lawyers docked for impersonating CBN Unity Bank in 52 million naira judgment debt. And some more stories from the Daily Post 2023. Kwakwanso takes presidential campaign to Ogun. Imo PDP inaugurates presidential campaign committee. And some more stories, and we move to another paper. Federal government not sincere to end insecurity in the country. This is coming from Governor Autumn. And finally, on the Daily Post, cholera underestimated vaccine preventable disease. This is coming from a pharmaceutical group.
I think we should take a first commercial break now. When we return, Professor Olutayo will be joining us for some analysis. Good morning.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Ǹjẹ́ ti gbọ́ Waka Now Travel Fest ti padà dé bíbà nínú gbogbo oṣù November ní bẹ̀bẹ̀ yóò máa lọ wá jẹ́ gbádùn àwọn ìdúnàdúrà tí kò lẹ́gbẹ́ fún àwọn arìnrìn-àjò lórí owó ọkọ̀ òfurufú ilé ìtura visa àti àwọn ìpèsè fún ìsinmi kàn sí www.wakanow.com báyìí láti kópa nínú àwọn àrígbádùn tó jọjú wọ̀nyí tàbí kó ṣàbẹ̀wò sí àwọn ojúde ìrìnàjò wa ní Bond Mall, Ventura Mall àti Base One Plaza, Ring Road, Ìbàdàn. Gbangba ti dẹkùn. Waka Now. Gbégbégbé. Gbéra.
What?
How did I do?
You did great.
My little boy has talent, so I support him by taking him to auditions,
Your son did great.
helping with his scripts.
Bow down to my flaming sword.
Great job.
For nourishment, I give him Twisco.
Mom, I got the role.
Now, it's my turn to be proud of him.
Give your kids Twisco to support their big dreams.
Twisco, power your dream.
Everybody won't connect to something greater. Connect to the moment, the winning goal, to history. Una fit do am now. Watch the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 on Showmax Pro. Oh yeah now. Stream all 64 matches of the World Cup live from Super Sport on Showmax. Experience every game, anywhere, on up to 2 devices. It is available in HD and 4K also. It choke. Almost sign up now at showmax.com.
Christ Mercy International Church presents 21 days powerful revival. Níbi tí Ọlọ́run ti ṣetán láti lo àwọn òjíṣẹ́ rẹ̀ pẹ̀lú àkórí ìtọ́dún yìí. Igi gbígbẹ́ léyè, ògì gbígbẹ́nu ayé wa ni ó yè láṣẹ Èdùmàrè. Tí yóò sì máa wáyé ní gbogbo aago 5 di aago 8 àṣálẹ́ ọjọ́ kọ̀ọ̀kan. Bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti 1st of December to 21st of December nínú ọdún tá a wà yìí. Prophet Mayowa Moses Fèyíjì àti ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìránṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run bíi Prophet Olúfẹ́mi Òní, Prophet Paul Ademodi, Apostle Olúwaṣẹ́gun Olúwaṣọgbọ́n, Prophet Adesoji Ọ̀nàbánjọ, Apostle Elijah Olúṣọlá, Prophet Augustine Ogena, Prophet Paul Arole Jésù, Prophet Ṣẹ́gun George, Prophet Samuel Olúdáre, tó fi mọ́ Prophet Isaac Jayiola, pẹ̀lú ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ olórin ẹ̀mí bíi Akíntúndé Elijah Ọlọ́run ò sọ bẹ́ẹ̀, Ẹnìtàn Olúṣẹ́gun Bámidélé EOB, Bose Super àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Gbogbo nínú gbọ̀ngàn ìjọ wa tó wà ní number 35 Adamoleko Street beside Butterlight Bread, Ìmọ̀lẹ́ Fálàfíà Òkè Àdó Ìbàdàn. It's 08077309381. Jésù dúdì yóò. Shalom.
Dabbo na the first and ogbonge herbal toothpaste. E get ingredients like lemon, mint, ginger, and basil wey dey make our teeth kakaraka.
Madam Rose, na true you talk o. Dabbo na the cocoa herbal punch wey get plenty natural herbs. Dabbo, the cocoa choice for my family.
And welcome back to the Break Dawn newspaper review. It's 43 minutes going past 6 o'clock, and it's time to dive into the analysis this morning. I am Adenike Ademuwagun.
Good morning once again. I am Olutayo Ogunade.
Good morning, Professor Jedoko.
Well, top of the day to you.
All right, so we are going to be starting from this Daily Post headline that says it's your duty to provide meters, transformers, other assets NEC charges Disco. And they said it's our duty to tell them that it is their right to get a meter as Discos are not doing you any favor to issue you a meter. Now, people buy transformers and poles by themselves in this country. I don't think there's any Nigerian or the average Nigerian doesn't know that it's not my job to buy the transformer, but if you don't do it, you don't get power, you don't get electricity.
Well, certainly not your duty, and as you've suggested and indicated, if you don't do it, it simply doesn't work. In fact, some people even suspect that there's sabotage when it comes to some of this equipment. That there's sabotage so that you end up, of course, having to pay money to buy it or to bring the necessary people to repair it. I think it's an undesirable situation, particularly with the billing, because we all know that estimated billing sometimes is akin to daylight robbery, because some of the expenses do not match, some of the usage doesn't match what exactly the electricity that has been utilized. So of course it should be the right of every Nigerian, if they want it and if they choose to have it, to have a meter, and it should be installed without much protocol. But it seems as if we are battling with that at the moment, and I believe that's the role of the government, to step in as the regulator when the things are not happening the way they should. That's the role of the government. Not the role of the government necessarily to provide it, but to ensure that it's provided, and that discos that do not do their jobs and do not do it adequately are sanctioned appropriately. That's why we have a government.
All right. Let's look at this story here. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and other oil marketers have the next 48 hours to make petrol available for Nigerians.
Well, some people will say that the reason why we don't have enough petrol is subject to market forces, and that a situation where marketers are not making money from it, that would be the argument of the marketers, that they're not making money from it. Then why should we load it, or why should we land it, to use that expression? But I think the government is saying that there's more than enough. And if there's more than enough, it should be sold, and it should be sold at the prescribed rate. The reality of it, from my own point of view, is that we're not even getting it at the prescribed rate anyway. And even with that, we're still getting the scarcity. So it's either there's a bottleneck in the supply chain, it's either or that there's sabotage on a massive scale, on a monumental scale, and these people are hoarding it. I choose to believe that the latter, the former, is the situation where there's a bottleneck in delivery. I don't want to believe that all these marketers are just hoarding these petrol products in order to make it cash out or to cash in at the appropriate time. I think it will be inhumane, and I think it will be insensitive to the plight of Nigerians. But at the end of the day, they want to make money, and they're not there for charity.
All right. I didn't know that the scope of operation of the DSS covers this.
That's what I wanted to say.
Well, the scope of the operations of DSS extends to even picking up people who insult the wife of the president and giving them a good kicking. I think the DSS is out of control, there's no doubt about it, and I don't think they're regulated. Their job really is supposed to be internal security, and except they can assure us or that this petrol situation is threatening internal security, their job is not even to order. Their job is to investigate and allow the police or the law enforcement to take their job. This is overreach, you understand? This is a mission creep, if I may use that expression.
And so all the executive orders that we have and the use of ultimatum and all that, what does that suggest for our democracy?
Well, it suggests for our democracy the old thing that we say in administrative law, that power tends to corrupt and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And the reason it's happening is because the National Assembly, most of the time, is always caught napping. They're not doing their job as the second arm of government, or call it the third arm. The judiciary, of course, is one of the other arms. And if they don't do their job appropriately, the executive will run roughshod over them. And that's exactly what is going on, because the DSS and all these bodies are agencies of the executive.
Well, the National Assembly seem to be more bothered about the new cash withdrawal policy of the CBN.
Well, they will be bothered because it directly affects them. It affects their spending power. It affects the ability of them to, like guess, you go to many constituencies, rather than them dealing with the situations of the day, most of the time they dole out small amounts of money to people, so to keep their mouth shut for a while. So I think it directly affects them. But having said that, I think it's sensible. The opposition is sensible. And it's sensible because they have to ask questions from the CBN. The CBN is supposed to address them twice a year under Section 8, Subsection 4 of the CBN Act. And I don't think Emefiele does that. So I think, yes, he owes them explanation, and he must be able to convince the representatives of the people what they're doing. Are they doing the right thing? Do they really have the powers to do it? There's nothing suggesting they don't have the powers. But questions are, how do you implement it, and how do you inform people that you implement it? Via circular?
I don't know if it's about implementation though, because at the end of the day, the withdrawal limit is 100K per week, and the what's it called now? The minimum wage in this country is not even that. So I think they are fighting for themselves.
Yes.
And some people are, before I want you to answer
Yes.
both. So some people believe that Emefiele wanted to contest for presidency and he didn't get that, so he's fighting back. Do you also agree with that?
I'm not sure my analysis will extend to that. I think that's a conspiracy theory too far. It's quite clear that he's a politician. No, there's no doubt about it. It's also quite clear that Emefiele is not an economist, he's a retail banker. But let's look at it, for instance. This policy is lifted from India, you understand. India tried this policy. I've forgotten when they tried it, but I'm reading the thesis on how India successfully put it into play. The problem with our policy usually is that we want to do a policy and want to do it within 1 month. In other countries, they extend it over a period of time. In terms of the amount, you understand, 100,000. A bag of rice, I wonder how much a bag of rice is. So I want to buy a bag of rice for Christmas. I want to buy other things. And imagine you have this, what do you call
limit.
it? Limit of 20,000 a day. How am I going to get the bag of rice? On credit? Or what? Or I'm going to transfer, and then what is it? I'm going to get, what is it called? Charged from that point of view. So, yes, it makes sense from security perspective, but you'll be asking the question, if the government does its job well, if they're able to secure Nigeria, then we may not need a policy like this. But at the same sort of token, there are lots of monies that are being spent, which normally you should be able to do through electronic transfer, provided you have the network, provided your network works. In my office, if I want to transfer, I spend hours, you understand, putting the phone up to the ceiling to make sure the transfer goes through. Is that the kind of situation we want? I go to bank, petrol state court sometimes, and I want to buy petrol, maybe 40,000 or maybe 35,000, and you discover that the transfer is not working because of the network. So, except we get our network right, it's going to create a roadblock in terms of commerce. And if there's a roadblock in terms of commerce, it contracts the economy. And if it contracts the economy, we're back to square one.
All right, but, digital or mobile device penetration is increasing in Nigeria. Shouldn't we begin to look at that, really? One of the lawmakers said Nigeria is not ripe, but we're not ready for such policy. Digital payment adoption is also growing in Nigeria. So when are we going to be ready for such a policy? What is your own take on this new withdrawal policy?
Well, in terms of the withdrawal policy, I think I support it, but I don't support the amount. I think the amount should increase. And I'll tell you one reason I support it. I'm being selfish in this analysis. Now, many times I go to the ATM, and you get some of these blokes or some of these lassies, you understand, doing 5 or 6 times withdrawals, you understand. And you're just waiting there and just waiting there and waiting there and waiting there. And I think the limit, you understand, will enable people, you go there quickly and you get your 20,000 and you move away. The reality of it is that most of the time, I don't carry more than 1,000 to 2,000 in my pocket.
If you can successfully transfer this cash from your mobile phone, why do we need to carry cash around?
No,
physical cash?
Well, because there are some places, you understand, where you go to, you understand, where you can use the POS. There's some places, for instance, if you are someone that buys produce, if you buy agricultural products, you're hardly going to get POS there, you understand, and maybe transfer will work for them from that point of view. And those places, the penetration of networks are also very poor. So you go there to buy yams, you go there to buy all sorts, and you can't, make payment other than by cash. So I think for us in the urban areas, I think it's a fine policy. It works well. But for the rural areas, unless we get the effective network penetration, we're going to be having problems.
All right. We also have this story from the Daily Post. Federal government recovers 120 billion naira from proceeds of crime. This money will be used to fund the completion of ongoing critical infrastructure projects in the country, like the Second Niger Bridge and the Lagos-Ibadan and Abuja-Kano Expressways. What about ASU?
What about ASU? I think the government has basically given up on their contract agreement with ASU. But you asked the right question. The ASU has an agreement with the government. It's over since 2007. There's been some kind of renegotiation here and there, but the government owes it to get it right with ASU. And of course, there's still the 8-month salary that is hanging, and the government says they simply won't pay because there's no work, no pay policy in place. But I think we have to be asking questions that the critical infrastructure they say they want to intervene in, we want to see the effect. A lot of times this money comes back into the economy. We don't see the effect. The money that comes from the Abacha loot, yes, they say it comes in, but we don't see the effect. They say, yes, they grant it to people, they give it to people, but we don't see the effect. I think Nigerians want to see the effect, and I want to see changing our narrative, in terms of the economy, in terms of our spending power, and in terms, of course, as you just mentioned, the ASU demands.
Okay, IGP launches portal to report stolen vehicles as preventive measure to tackle vehicle theft. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Al-Khali, has launched a platform for Nigerians to report cases of stolen vehicles. I would say, is this not about time?
It's about time, but I think they need to go further. I think part of it also is if we have a kind of a database, a kind of system where every police is able, through technology, to determine who owns each car. Because what happens in the UK, for instance, is we are driving past, the police already know who owns the car. And of course, if the car is reported to be stolen, they have the database, they can immediately pinpoint that this car is in Abulegba or whatever it is. Yes, so the portal is a good thing. It needs to be followed through. We have already in Oyo State, we have a center where you can have CCTVs and you have access to what's going on around the city. The penetration is limited, but it's a start, So I think this portal thing has to be done in conjunction with other measures. But it's a good thing. It will at least limit and prevent the selling and of stolen vehicles. I didn't want to use trafficking because trafficking tends to appeal to be relevant to human beings. Yes, so that it will stop them in their tracks. It will reduce stolen vehicles being moved from A to B.
Okay, on the Punch, you have unaudited accounts. Reps panel indicts NNPC, CBN, others. What do you have to say about this story?
In a normal country, the governor of the central bank and the heads of those parastatals will have been fired. You understand? Because the law says they have to be audited. And if they are not audited, it suggests to you that some shenanigans may be going on. And even if not shenanigans are going on, how do you prove, you understand, that what you say you've earned, what you say you've expended is the right thing? And how do you improve your operations? Because audit is not always about infractions. Audit is about systems. How do you improve the system so that spending, there's greater efficiency, there's value for money. So I think the executive heads of those various agencies need to be called to account. And if they need to vacate their position as a result of this, they should. Because it happens year in, year out. That's not the first time it's happened. It keeps on happening.
All right, let's look at this story. Nigeria's military chief denies report of forced abortion of thousands of women.
Yeah, that story has been going around the rounds on social media, and people have been claiming that this is what's happening exactly. It's a relief to me that the chief, the military chief, is denying that it exists. But I hope that this is investigated exhaustively, so that even if there's a hint of it whatsoever, it's dealt with, it's quashed, and of course the people that are involved are brought to book. But I'm happy that you said it's not happening at all. Then you raise the question, where did the report come from? On what basis? Is the military trying to cover up? Or is it simply that somebody is being mischievous?
The report is from Reuters. And, of course, they quoted names of survivors and other...
They did indeed. But, quoting names of survivors, sometimes there could be mischief there. I think that still needs to be interrogated further. And I think when the military chief said nothing like that is happening, I think he owes us a duty to rebut, you understand, bit by bit, piece by piece, detail by detail.
NPower fraud, lawyer seeks D'Banj's release 48 hours after. We're told that he was called in for questioning, and I'm wondering, does questioning take 48 hours?
No, you under the various, the Constitution, the Police Act, you have a period of time which you can detain for further inquiries. And sometimes you detain them because you're also making inquiries with other people and you don't want them to interfere with investigation. It suggests that there are a load of questions that D'Banj had to answer and had to process. But the fact that it's been released doesn't mean he's guilty or doesn't mean he's not guilty.
He hasn't been released.
He hasn't been released.
Sorry.
Actually.
His lawyer seeks for him to be released because he's been there for 48 hours.
Okay, I apologize. 48 hours is the limit. After 48 hours, he ought to be released. If it's not released after 48 hours, then they have to apply to the magistrate for an extension. If they have not applied to the magistrate for an extension, then of course they are violating his rights, his fundamental human rights, and they're violating the Constitution. I'm really surprised that D'Banj is being accused of this. He's not a government official. You understand? So you begin to ask the question.
Well, we will get to see the names of the government officials involved.
Yes, yes, because obviously.
Or is it like the fall guy here?
Well, it will appear so. It will appear. We don't know the fact, but it will appear as if his name in some sort of way was used, and that is just one factor in the many that are involved in this. But I think time will tell. 48 hours is rolling by, and it has to, after 48 hours, as I've said, they have to apply to a magistrate, otherwise they have to release him.
Well, we'll wait for everything to really pan out. But honestly speaking, we, like I said, we want a resort
but
to
he gave himself up.
media trial. But
yes,
that's interesting.
Yes.
Prof?
Yes, he gave himself up, didn't he? He gave himself up.
I don't know if he gave
corruption
himself
in
up.
Nigeria is I don't know.
No, corruption has overwhelmed Nigeria. In fact, it's a fundamental policy of the state. In every state, local government, state governments, federal government, for corruption is the order of the day. I think the default position is corruption. When you're not corrupt, people think you're crazy or you're mad.
Okay. 2023,
yeah.
we're always under pressure to compromise elections. This is coming from the military.
Well, I think he's saying whatever Nigerian has always known. But I like his honesty. I like his refreshing honesty. And of course, coming out would suggest that the Nigerian military is going to be neutral. And I think it's always easy for the Nigerian military to be neutral when the government, the incumbent, is leaving finally. You understand? So it's not as if the incumbent is going for second term. A new incumbent, a new person will come in, whether it's of the same party or of a different party. But it's reassuring that the chief of defense staff, that's his position, has assured us that they are going to ensure that there's a free and fair. So those who are banking on incumbency to extend their stay or to remain in power are in for a big, huge shock, I hope.
It's no longer fashionable having the military in power.
No, it's no longer
not
fashionable.
anywhere. What we're saying is that we should improve on our democracy. Or what we seem to have now is like, you always say, Prof, civil rule.
Oh, civil rule. It's civil rule because there's no point, not having... The reason why we never wanted the military to continue to extend is because we people didn't really have a say. But what's the point having a say? You think you have a say, and then poverty and economic dislocation and all the attendant misgovernance is what you get. So in many respects, even in the civil rule, when our National Assembly is not functioning the way they should, we're not really having a say. We're just having some politicians and some civilians who are dictating for us. And we're not really having democracy in the real or the true sense of the word.
Let's take another commercial break. We'll be back.
Oto, ṣé mo ṣe dáadáa?
Ìyá mi ẹ ṣe dáadáa. Èmi náà fẹ́ di eléré orí ìtàgé bíi ti yín.
Ọmọ mi ní ẹ̀bùn ọpọlọ. Torí ẹ̀ ni mo ṣe máa ń tì lẹ́yìn nípa mímú lọ wo àpéjọ àwọn òṣèré.
Ọmọ yín gbìyànjú.
Mo máa ń ràn lọ́wọ́ lórí àkọ́wò rẹ̀.
Ẹ forí balẹ̀ fún ìdá mi.
Ò káre, Twisco ni mo máa ń fún un. Kára ẹ̀ lè jí pépé.
Màámi, wọ́n ti mú mi fẹ́rẹ́ náà.
Àsìkò tèmi náà rèé láti fi yangàn fún àwọn ọmọ rẹ ní Twisco láti ṣe àtìlẹ́yìn èròǹgbà wọn. Twisco fún un lágbára láti mérò ọkàn rẹ̀ ṣẹ. Christmas time is tasty time with Mama Dog all the way. What a tasty meal to share with family and friends. Oh, Mama Dog, Mama Dog, Mama Dog all the way. So have yourself a nourishing Christmas with Mama Dog tasty range.
Ho, ho, ho! Have a deliciously nourishing Christmas with Mama Dog.
Mama Dog, Mama Dog, Mama Dog, Mama Dog all the way. So have yourself a nourishing Christmas with Mama Dog tasty range.
God bless Nigeria. Live, work, and study in Canada, United Kingdom, Ireland, Cyprus, South Africa, and India. Become a permanent resident of Canada. Best country to live. Work in the United Kingdom as a skilled worker, a health worker, a caregiver, and enjoy a family life in the UK. Start your 2023 migration travel and tour plan now through NTT Go Abroad. Register for your visa process now at nttgoabroad.com and NTT Go Abroad app with 50% discount at Online Dynamics Limited, 4th floor, Cocoa House, Dugbe, Ibadan, and Stallion Hillside, Jericho, Ibadan, and collect your Christmas gifts instantly. Migration, travels, and tours. NTT Go Abroad. Integrity, expertise, and experience. 0810-273-8145. NTT Go Abroad. Powered by Online Dynamics Limited. Registration closes December 16th.
We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Crossover sí 2023 òróró Olutayo lọ́lọ́run Sáàmù Olúwa ló máa dà lé ọ lórí.
Orílẹ̀ tí Jésù ti ṣe sí àmì àti ojúkorojú yẹn. Adenike Jesus City. La máa gbàdé kọjá sí 2023. Nínú pàdé májẹ̀mú ọlọ́jọ́ mẹ́ta àgbáyípo. Láti Friday 30 December. The Sunday 1st January 2023. Bàbá Adenike. Prophet Sam Olúalọ. Ọlọ́run ti sọ fún bàbá láti dá òróró ojú rẹ̀ lé gbogbo èèyàn lórí. Anointing for excellence. Ọlọ́run sọ pé gbogbo ẹni máa farahàn. Òun máa bá wọn dá májẹ̀mú títayọ fún ìrìn àjò 2023 o. Ọ̀pọ̀ wòlíì májẹ̀mú jẹ́ súnmọ́ Bísí aláwìyé àlùkò. Olúwa ló ní Bísí. Àwọn ló máa léwájú olórí ẹ̀mí. Prophet Sam Olúalọ bàbá Adenike. Wọ́n á máa dòróró títayọ lé gbogbo èèyàn lórí. Ayé wọn náà wọ́n kánsẹ́lì tó máa wà. Wákàtí nínú àdúrà máa jọ. CSC Adenike Jesus City. Ìbàjúlẹ̀ kí ẹ̀pẹ́ expressway. Ìlàmìjà village Alaro City la ó ti pàdé. Ìwọ ló máa sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀rí eléyìí gbà bẹ́ẹ̀.
It's our first call. Hello? Good morning to you. Hello, good morning.
Prof, good morning. Adenike, this is okay.
Good morning.
Ask. I thought there was a time even Fashola was talking about arrangement had been made for like Lagos about the expressway and the other one. How come money costing again is now being spent? Please, it calls for question. There is a lot of suspicion in this issue. The very issues that have been done, they keep telling us anything they get is still going back to there. Or is it the same money they told us they got the other one that they're still talking about? These are questions we need to ask. So, and like we rightly said, there is no regard, no plan for ASU. As far as they are concerned, our education can get lost. To them, they don't have, but after all, most of their children are not here. The average Nigerian who has his or her children here, they don't bother about it. These are questions. Please, Prof, I want us to consider this question. Please do kindly answer. This particular Lagos about, is it the same money they told us that they got, or is it a new looted fund they got? I don't understand. Good morning.
Okay.
It seems to be a new fund. They are not talking about the same old. This one relates to EFCC from the loot, and the other one I think refers to Abacha loot, but I may be wrong.
009-700949.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Please turn down the volume on your radio.
I'm Johnny Joseph.
Good morning.
I'm happy Prof is here. I've been away for some time. You see, I've told the world the YRC is suffering this present day. And I told them that the day the federal government dragged them to the industrial court, and the industrial court ordered ASU to resume, ASU later went on an appeal. The same appeal court told ASU to resume for national interest. That was the day the case was lost and won. On that ground, the federal government has decided not to pay ASU the arrears. The military are under pressure by those who believe in the power of incumbency will definitely fail. I believe that if the president is neutral, the military will equal the neutral. The neutrality of the armed forces under a boss is not in that. I'm sure of that. John Joke is my name. Thank you.
Thank you, John. 0705 500949 and 0906 200949. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Allah is my name. I want to contribute quickly on the issue of neutrality of the military. You know that when you look at the body language of our president, he doesn't even have interest on who will become the president after him. For those people, unlike his own party now, people from his own party that have been boasting that maybe the president will help them, he will do this, you will see that they will be shocked at the end of the day. The man doesn't have interest on who will become the president. So for this reason, the military will be neutral. They will do their job. And those people that have been posting that they are going to win, they are the leading candidates, at the end of the day, you will see they will shock. That is my own contribution. Come on.
All right. Thank you very much. We move to Facebook. Raji Afiz Abiola says, good morning, Adenike and Tayo. About DSS ultimatum to NNPC. Honestly, it's an indication that things didn't go well in this country. It shows that the federal government doesn't know their responsibilities. That is why an agency like DSS would rise up and do the functions of the executive. Honestly, it's a big shame on the part of the Nigerian government to allow the fuel scarcity crisis linger to this period. Hello, good morning. Hello. Okay, Olutayo Oluwarotimi says corruption. Hello, good morning.
The line dropped. All right.
0705 500949. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
This is John Olariwaju from Baguio. First and foremost, I think on the issue of NFP, that the DSS that warning the independent marketer that they should find the solution to the issue of oil. I think actually it's a welcome development because it's like they are taking the Nigeria for granted. And the fact is that even the NFPC said, I think DSS needs to deal with them too. They need to investigate them because I don't know why they will be putting suffering on Nigerians with the name of fuel subsidy or not fuel subsidy. If you want to remove this fuel subsidy, we should come out clean and let us know. If you agree, yes. If you don't agree, we are Nigerians. We are the ones that put you there. If you say no, you have to leave it. Not that you will force on us because we are not in military era. We are in civilian era. Thank you and good morning.
All right. But in all of this, Prof, what is the work of the PPPRA?
No, they're supposed to be the regulators. They're supposed to ensure that people comply and that those that fall foul are apprehended by the relevant law enforcement agencies. They seem to be napping too. I don't know what the problem is.
Hello.
Hello, Tayo. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, this is Adonis.
Please turn down the volume on your radio.
The DSS coming out to give the marketers of petroleum products 48 hours to change their position has confirmed my suspicion that something is fishing in that sector. And the president we voted for did not realize this all this while because he promised to defend the people. That is one. Secondly, in 2019, Babatunde Fashola, the Minister of Works, campaigned vigorously and they have completed the second Niger Bridge payment. This allegation that they are going to use the whatever money to pay for the completion of Niger Bridge and the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, is that not a proof that these politicians are out to deceive us in all ramifications? Bro, please talk about this. Confirm this if it's not a fact that the campaign against for it in 2019. Thank you.
Well, it's clear that there seems to be double expenditure going on here, and I think the government is in the best position to clarify. We keep on saying we're spending on the same thing, and I think it's also typical of our budget. We have the same budget line.
Hello.
It's repeated year in, year out.
Yeah. Hello, good morning, Doctor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, John.
Okay, John, go on.
Doctor, yes. I want to ask about this NNPC. Our president is the minister. And I want to ask, is it that the barber did not know how to barb the hair or that the clipper is not sharp? I want to know, Doctor. This Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, they said that by December they will finish it. But I'm assuring you that Buhari will not commission it. Another person is going to finish it. Thank you.
Well, I mean, that was John, and he has a wicked, sense of coining his questions.
It does, yes. But just interject a bit. He is nominally the minister of petroleum. He's nominally.
So what is Tim Silva saying? He's not come out to talk to us.
But are we even sure that Tim Silva is really in charge of that ministry? I suspect that
Minister of State.
He's supposed to be. Okay. He's supposed to have executive authority.
Right.
But I suspect that NNPC limited as we now call it, is who's running the show. Really. Yes.
Hello. The line drops 009 7000 949. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hello. Good morning.
Hi. Morning.
After from Mariopita.
Okay. Please speak up and make your point.
Hold on.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello. Good morning. Yeah. Good morning to you. You see, on the issue of just let us be frank with ourselves.
In fact, I am highly fed up of this country. You know, why is it some people so believe that they are so powerful than the law of the land? You can just decide anyhow. I mean, it's a welcome development. It's the 48 hours given to the NFCC. It's a welcome development. You can't just do anything anyhow. Just decide on Nigerians anyhow. It's very annoying. Thank you.
All right. I mean, that was taken. Let's see another one here.
Yes.
Okay, will we take some messages?
0705 500949. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm calling from Manara.
All right, please go.
Thank God that the ESS intervened on time. But why, like what the analyst said, the Minister of the Secretary and our President will to also any sickness studies this. That means if this DSS not refused to intervene, that means that everything will just continue like this to the end of this year. So I want to appeal, use the power brokers or cabals in that sector. I know posterity will judge everyone. I know one day. That's my own thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
There's a suspicion that maybe the government is preparing our minds for the time when subsidy will fully be removed. Because irrespective of actions of the government, we are still selling above the prescribed
official,
official rate.
Hello.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Please, you need to jazz up the volume of your voice.
I just want to correct one of the analysts here. I think whether professor or doctor, I don't know who among them, that whether DSS, part of their duty is not to this issue of NNPC. It's part of their duty. Go and cross-check. Good morning.
Okay.
Anything that has to do with internal security is part of the duty of the DSS. But is it part of their duty as law enforcement officers to be locking down, to be giving instructions and directives? I don't think so.
All right, it's time for us to go. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I am Adenike Ademuwagun.
Up next is Smart Kids Show with Auntie Yellow. I am Olutayo Ogunade.
The joy of a great nation rests on the shoulders of a radio station.
Camera action.
Drop it.
Your music.